Hello, so today we will see the pharynx. The pharynx should be studied under the following heads. The introduction. It is a wide muscular tube which lies behind the nose, mouth and larynx. Hence, it is divided into the nasopharynx, oropharynx and the laryngopharynx. So, if we take this will be the nose in cut section. This is the oral cavity. This is the roof of the nose. Then there is the sphenoid bone. This is the pituitary fossa. Below this, these are the cervical vertebrae. This is the first one. This is second, third, fourth, fifth and the sixth. Now this is the lining epithelium that is coming from the roof of the nose and posteriorly covering the vertebrae. Anteriorly, if you see, this is the hard palate, this is the soft palate. So the pharynx is divided into nasopharynx is the portion which lies behind the nose. So starting from here up to the lower border of the soft palate will be the nasopharynx. Oropharynx is the portion which lies behind the oral cavity. So starting from lower border of the soft palate, and if you see in the oral cavity, this is the tongue. Behind the tongue there is the epiglottis. This is the epiglottis. So from the soft palate to the epiglottis, this portion is the oropharynx and it is related behind to the second and third vertebrae, and behind this portion is the laryngopharynx, where at the lower border of C6 vertebra it continues as the esophagus. So this portion is the nasopharynx, this portion is the oropharynx and this lower down is the laryngopharynx behind the larynx. The length is about 12 to 14 centimeters. Width above it is larger 3.5, middle it is narrow and narrowest at the lower end where it continues with the esophagus and it is 1.5 centimeters. Now the boundaries superiorly, pharynx is related to the base of the skull where the basi-occiput meets the basi-sphenoid. Here it is called as the pharyngeal tubercle. There is a raised area. Inferiorly continues with the esophagus at the lower border of C6 or the cricoid. Posteriorly related to the C1 to C6 cervical vertebrae which are covered with the perivertebral fascia. Anteriorly it communicates with the nasal cavity, oral cavity and the larynx, which we have just seen. On each side, it is related to the medial pterygoid plate, pterygomandibular raphe, mandible, then tongue, hyoid, thyroid and cricoid cartilages, and communicates with the middle ear through the auditory tube and related to the styloid apparatus and carotid sheath. Coming to each part, the nasopharynx. Now we will discuss each part under the following heads: its introduction, its situation, extent, communications, some relations and what lies inside it, what is the nerve supply and what is the function. So as we have seen in this figure, the nasopharynx is the part which lies behind the nose. So anteriorly it is bounded by the posterior apertures of the nose. So this is the hard palate, this is the soft palate, and this portion we are going to study like this. This is the nasopharynx. Now we know that in the nasopharynx there are in the nose there are superior, middle and inferior nasal conchae and the myiatis. Then this will be the posterior nasal aperture or the opening. So extent is, it extends from the base of the skull to the soft palate till here. Communications anteriorly with the nose and below with the oropharynx. Now what are the relations? Relations for each part, nasopharynx, oropharynx or larynx, we will study under the following heads. Anterior relations, posterior relations, the roof and the floor and the lateral wall. Now anteriorly what we are seeing is this portion is the posterior nasal aperture or the choanine. Posterior and the roof together, they are formed by one, this is the body of the sphenoid. Then there is the slope where the basi sphenoid and the basi occiput they meet. So this part, and below that is the anterior arch of the atlas. These are forming the roof and the floor, posterior wall of the nasopharynx. Now what is present in this posterior wall? There are three things. One is the presence of the nasopharyngeal tonsil or the adenoids, this green colored portion. This is present in the roof of the nasopharynx. So if we draw the like this roof, so this is the nasopharyngeal tonsil. Now within that there is a small bursa or a diverticulum in the tonsil. This is called pharyngeal bursa, which is a mucous diverticulum, and there is a small remnant of Rathke's pouch. Sometimes it may develop, as we know that this is the pituitary over here, and pituitary develops from the Rathke's pouch, which is extended from the ectoderm of the roof of the nasopharynx. So sometimes the pituitary may be seen there, and that is called the pharyngeal hypophysis. So these are the three things that are present in the roof of the nasopharynx. Now in the floor, it communicates with the oral cavity. Now laterally, in its lateral wall, there is opening of the auditory tube. So this is the nose and this is the hard palate, where these are the three conchi. This opening of the auditory tube lies below, just below and behind the inferior nasal concha, 1.25 centimeters behind it. That is opening which this auditory tube communicates the nasopharynx with the tympanic cavity and maintains the equilibrium of air pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. Now above this, there is an elevation which is called the tubal tonsil, which is having a lymphoid tissue beneath the mucosa. That is called tubal tonsil. Then there are two folds of mucous membrane which are raised areas of the mucosa, one extending anteriorly, that is called the salpingo-palatine fold, going to the soft palate. So here this is the soft palate, and the other one going to the pharynx, that is called salpingo-pharyngeal folds. So these are the structures lying in the lateral wall of the nasopharynx. Two folds. The lining epithelium is respiratory type. The nerve supply is pharyngeal branches of pterygopalatine coming from the maxillary nerve, and function is passage of air. What is Waldeyer's ring? Waldeyer's ring is an aggregation of lymphoid follicles around the nasopharyngeal isthmus, and it is made up of the first one. This is the nasopharyngeal tonsil. That is what we have seen in the roof of nasopharynx. Second one, which we have just seen, that is tubal tonsils. Third ones are the tonsil or the palatine tonsil, which lies in the tonsillar fossa of the oropharynx. And fourth one is the lingual tonsil, which is present in the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. So if you get a separate note on Waldey's ring, you have to describe each of these under the following heads: position, the lining epithelium, the blood supply, and the nerve supply. And this ring of lymphoid tissue forms the first line of defense for both the food as well as the airway. So this is the roof of nasopharynx, this is the tubal tonsil, this is the palatine tonsil and the lingual tonsil. The function of this Waldey's ring, it is active and enlarged in children, protects the respiratory and GIT from invasion, so first line of defense. And applied anatomy is hypertrophy of the nasopharyngeal tonsil leads to adenoids. It leads to difficulty in the nasal breathing and hence there is mouth breathing leading to snoring. If there is hypertrophy of tubal tonsil, it leads to obstruction of the auditory tube and pain in the ears. Then there may be tonsillitis when there is enlargement of the palatine tonsil, and if it is recurrent, then it might need a tonsillectomy. Now coming to oropharynx. Oropharynx, as we said, is the part which lies behind the oral cavity and it extends from the lower border of the soft palate to the upper border of the epiglottis. Anteriorly, it communicates with the oral cavity here, and above with the nasopharynx and below with the laryngopharynx. What are the relations? Anteriorly, definitely related to oral cavity. Posteriorly, it is related to the second and third cervical vertebra. The roof communicates with the nasopharynx through the pharyngeal isthmus. Now, what is this pharyngeal isthmus? So, we have seen that this is the hard palate. This is the hard palate. This is the soft palate. And behind this, here, this is the nasopharynx. So, there is a fold we have seen, that is palatopharyngeal fold. When this fold forms few fibers which sweep backwards and form a raised ridge in the roof of the nasopharynx, that is called the passavant's ridge. So, the nasopharyngeal isthmus, anteriorly it is bounded by the soft palate, posteriorly by the raised passavant's ridge, and on either side the fibers of the palatopharyngeus muscles. The floor communicates with the laryngopharynx. Laterally, there is a tonsillar fossa or the tonsillar sinus, which is bounded anteriorly by the palatoglossal arch, posteriorly by the palatopharyngeal arch, and which lodges the palatine tonsil. So, palatine tonsil lies in the lateral wall of the oropharynx. It is lined by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium and supplied by glossopharyngeal and vagus nerves. Now, function of oropharynx is it is a passage of both air and food. So, as you can see, the air is coming from the nose and it will go anteriorly to the larynx and then to the trachea. Whereas the food is coming from the oral cavity and it will go posteriorly through the laryngopharynx into the esophagus. So, oropharynx is that part where there is crossing of the airway and the food way. Now coming to laryngopharynx, the position is behind the larynx. It extends from, in this diagram, from upper border of the epiglottis to the lower border of the cricoid. So, this is the cricoid cartilage. Communications anteriorly, it communicates with the larynx through the laryngeal inlet, above with the oropharynx, and below it is continuous with the esophagus. Now, relations anteriorly, there is inlet of larynx. Now, what is this inlet? So, anteriorly we have seen there is epiglottis. So, let us draw this leaf-like epiglottis. And behind there is this cricoid lamina on which rest the cartilages of larynx. These are called arytenoid cartilages. There is a mucous fold between these arytenoid cartilages, which is called the interarytenoid mucous fold. And from the epiglottis lateral margins extending to the arytenoid is the aryepiglottic fold. So the inlet of larynx is formed by epiglottis anteriorly, interarytenoid fold of mucous membrane posteriorly, and aryepiglottic folds on either side. Then below it is also related to, now here there is lamina of the cricoid cartilage as well as the arytenoids. So that is anterior relation of laryngopharynx. Posteriorly it is related to fourth and fifth cervical vertebrae, and roof communicates with oropharynx and floor communicates with the esophagus. This is laryngopharynx. Lateral to the laryngopharynx is a pyriform fossa which is bounded by this aryepiglottic fold medially and the thyroid cartilage laterally. Beneath the mucosa of this pyriform fossa lies the internal laryngeal nerve. So when you are doing some procedure in this pyriform fossa, you have to be careful, otherwise this internal laryngeal nerve may be damaged, and this is supplying the carrying sensory fibers from larynx, which may lead to anesthesia of the larynx. It is lined by stratified squamous epithelium, and nerve supplies through glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve, and it acts as a passage for food. So this is laryngopharynx.